Chukamonga.
Chukamonga. Welcome to MKUsual. It's like MK Ultra, but more normal.
In the belly of the beast.
We're broadcasting live from the heart of Texas. Sorry.
They're selling InfoWars.
And they're selling InfoWars.
And Media Matters wants to buy it.
Yeah, you told me that. Who's
Media Matters wants to buy InfoWars.
the libtards?
All they're going to do is buy it and retract all the stories. Dude, can you... I almost want it to happen.
He got so much shit right. He got a few things wrong. But he got 9/11 right.
Got a lot right. I feel like what's happening to him is pretty bad. But yeah, Media Matters is like a liberal fact check. But like, what would they do with the intellectual property of InfoWars?
I mean,
I feel like they'd have a big party and like burn everything, or like or like keep it open for a few years.
Leftists burning books. Reshaping history.
They're interdimensional vampires. It is a form of book burning. I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to buy it, and then they're going to leave it open like as just a website, and then they're going to issue anti-InfoWars stories. Like they're going to be like, here's things Alex Jones got wrong, and it'll just be like, I just don't understand who would pay $1 billion for something that's so branded like that.
Yeah.
We weren't even gonna. It's not even a segment. I just think it's weird. I have a segment I want to do. If you're okay with it, this is something close to my heart. It doesn't involve you.
This is your show too.
Do you remember Craigslist misconnections?
I love Craigslist misconnections.
I used to read them all the time, and I made fun of them. I read them because it was just kind of goofy.
Yeah. Everyone wanted to like have one about them.
Yeah, and sometimes you'd have that in your mind when you're
like, well, I was at that Hy-Vee on Thursday, but I wasn't wearing a red shirt, so maybe next time.
Nobody loves me.
Yeah.
I wonder if that ever worked.
It had to have. I want to believe. It's like Sasquatch. I want to believe.
I don't know, though. I don't know if... It's kind of like, okay, I understand... How many women... I understand why a guy would use misconnections.
Oh, yeah, you were fucking big-titted barista that I drool over every day.
Yes, but I can't... But
I
women...
missed the connection. I just don't say anything but go in there 5 times a day.
Yeah, I hate those. Those aren't even real misconnections. Those are you're a pussy. But I understand why a guy would use misconnections. Women get hit on all the time. Like to a point where it's some of their biggest complaints about men.
Yeah.
So how many of them are perusing Craigslist to see if a guy talked to them at the grocery store? Maybe it was a different era. I don't know.
Despite what a lot of people say, women are human beings too. And they have feelings and they get lonely.
Not to get political.
Women get horny. Women get shy. They get hit on. They don't get to choose who they get hit on, but they want people to be attracted. They want that big boner barista who makes their coffee every day to tell them they look hot, and they just don't. Sometimes.
Well, anyway, our audience is growing. Our producer told us we got 1 million hits last episode, so I'm gonna throw this. I'm gonna do a misconnection because I had an experience.
I got 1 million hits with that pool noodle.
If you don't know the pool noodle reference, Nick's mad because I do sneak attacks on him, which are good-natured. And yes, I do them off camera too. He's starting to get mad about the sneak attacks. I'm going to do my own misconnection because I don't think anyone uses Craigslist anymore. And I had an experience with a lovely young woman who, if you're watching this, huge chance she is because everybody's watching us. I just want to put out some info and see if you remember me. And if maybe we can connect. So this started last Wednesday. I was down on about 11th and Grand in Kansas City. I had just bought a small amount of crack. I was walking down underneath a bridge to smoke the crack. I came upon an abandoned car park and saw the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And she yelled at me and said, "What you doing?" And I said, "Not much." And then she said $100, and I didn't know what she was talking about. And then a pink Cadillac pulled up. And this mean guy got out and said, "Get in the car, bitch!" And he grabbed her by her hair. And she left this shoe. My Cinderella. I think her name is Francesca because that's the name on the shoe. And so I smoked the crack. And you came and gave me a ride. What?
Was this after she was abducted?
This fell off her while she was getting put in the car. And I think she left it there for me to find her. And if you were the mistress of the night...
it was a synchronicity.
It is. And if you're the mistress, I want you to come here and let me try to put this shoe on you. And whoever this shoe fits, I'll marry you.
Dennis has crack money.
No, I spend crack money.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for a partner.
The crack wasn't even part of the story. You're supposed to give details.
Oh, right. I'm just saying you're an eligible kind of guy for a bridge.
Saying my Francesca, come here, let me put your shoe on you. We could live happily ever after. I could save you. Yeah.
Yeah, you could smoke crack with Dennis under the bridge instead of in a scary pink Cadillac.
Yeah. What's that guy got that I don't?
You have that old burned out Ford Pinto that's under the bridge that you smoke crack in.
Yeah. I got everything that guy has. I don't wear weird, flashy hats.
You don't wear...
The guy had a cane.
You don't wear animal print shirts.
No. I don't date weird... You gotta get better taste in men. And $100... I mean, what does that even mean? I don't have that kind of pocket change. But I'd give you $100, you know.
Her love is priceless.
Her love is, Francesca, your love is priceless.
You don't have any feathers in your hat either.
No, I don't have yeah, I told you what the guy looked like. Yeah. I don't have that many chains. Maybe I'm not big man driving around my Cadillac with my chains and my feather in the hat. But, you know, if you're watching this, you know, wherever you work or whatever you do for, you know.
Every time that Francesca would talk back to you, you didn't put baby powder on your hand and smack her on the face so it didn't leave a mark.
No, I would never.
That's what the baby powder's for.
Oh.
So it doesn't leave a mark on them.
It kind of worries me that you know that.
Pimpin' 101.
Pimpin'?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he just has good taste in cars.
We be pimpin'. If you're implying that she is anything other than a young lady who needed a ride,
an entrepreneur,
then I am offended.
Sorry to talk about your love like that.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the newest edition of book reviews taken with the yearly output of a Chinese salt mine. Books I read in jail edition.
Yeah.
I've prepared a little segment of a little book review, some stuff I read in jail and my takeaway from it. And feel free to jump in with any questions.
Educate me.
Yeah, I'll do my best. Mind you, take what I say about these books not with a grain of salt, but with the yearly output of a Chinese salt mine.
Second time we said that. As a reminder. Chinese salt mine.
They're one of the largest producers of salt in the world.
Oh, that's why you Googled that. I let him use my iPad.
Yeah.
I pick it up and it says, "Who makes the most salt in the world?" And I was like, Why did you randomly Google who makes the most salt in the world? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
The U.S. is up there. Australia, Canada. I've never had any Canadian salt that I know of, but definitely had some Chinese salt. All that soy sauce.
In A, it's a chemistry joke.
Hey, that's a good one. Damn, that fucking flew right over my head. So first book, one of the books I read in jail, ironically, was George Orwell's 1984.
That's a great book to read in jail.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were reading it in jail, well, actually, go ahead and educate me on the book, and then I'll ask my questions.
Okay.
I've actually never read 1984, I'm ashamed to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd read it before. It was available to read. They just made it available. It was copyrighted in 1949, George Orwell. It's a dystopian novel about a future that takes place in 1984, which is no longer the future. Also, I won't say which library I'd never return this to.
Wait, did you steal that from jail?
No.
Oh.
I stole it from a library.
You stole a book from jail.
What
do you think What do you think the punishment is for stealing a book from jail? Like, if you
I don't know. I think
out...
if you can get it up your ass, they'll just be proud of you.
Yeah. Can you imagine having to go back to jail for a year because you walked out with a book?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, if I stole 1984 from jail and have to go back to jail, that's some 1980. That pretty much sums
based.
up. Yeah. The book takes place in a dystopian future based on George Orwell's lived experience and his predictions of what would happen with oppressive governments. It deals a lot with mind control through control of information that's available in the media. They have a news agency, and they have what's called the memory hole, and they edit stories like if the country that, I forget the guy's name, the country he lives in, if they lose the war, they change the fucking history and say that they won the war, they've always won the war.
Eurasia's always been at war with East Asia.
Yes. Yeah, see, there's enough like pop culture references.
It's so culturally ubiquitous,
you can,
dude.
But the main...
Dude, the memory hole's a real thing.
Yeah.
That he got right.
He unfortunately got that right.
Hunter Biden's laptop.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Memory hold.
But basically, this tyrannical government controlled every aspect of a person's life, and they made boners illegal.
Really?
Yeah. They said, yeah, he has a love interest, and he gets boners, and the government's like, can't have those. That would indicate I don't know if you guys could hear that. That was my ankle monitor going on.
That's a weird time for your ankle monitor to go on when you're talking about 1984.
I'm still on house arrest.
And boners.
I'm almost done. Yeah, they made the government, this tyrannical government, made boners illegal. And then he tries to do boner stuff anyway. And turns out the woman was a double agent. She got flipped. He got caught, and he got sent to jail to the re-education. No, what was it called? The Ministry of Information. That's what it was called. And they were like, what does 2 + 2 equal? And he's like, 4. And then they beat him mercilessly. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I thought it was 4. And they're like, what does 2 + 2 equal? And then they tell him the answer, and they tell him the answer is 3. And he's like, no, it's 4. And they beat him mercilessly. And then there's a part where, like, he pulls his boner out, and they're like, those are illegal. And then he they put rats in a cage and like they're gonna like eat his face. They're like right on the other side of the screen, and then he pulls his boner out and starts jerking it. And they're like, "That's illegal, dude. You're already here for boner stuff." And then
this book has a lot of boners in it.
Yeah, and then they talk, and then they're like, okay, they're trying to like change his mind about like he knows what math is, right? He's smart. He's figured out what they're up to. They're deleting history and propagandizing people and brainwashing them. And then he's like, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to have a boner while I'm resisting. And then they're like, okay, 2 + 2 = 5. And he's like, no, it doesn't. It equals 4. My boner says so. And then they beat him mercilessly. And then they're like, listen, bud, you want to imagine what the future looks like? Just imagine a black boot stomping on the boners for all eternity.
That's beautiful.
And then they're like, what does 2 + 2 =? And he says, whatever you say it does, boss. Just leave my boner alone.
Damn. That's not what I expected.
Yeah, pretty good book. Yeah, he got it right. In 1949, he figured it out.
Future without boners.
No boners. Government made them illegal. Another book I got into. Everyone knows this one. The Bible.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, I read some stories.
Really, like 66 books.
Is that how many?
Yeah, some of them.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't read it at all. I just read some stories from.
This is a great book review.
I didn't really
Moby
get through
Dick.
it.
I haven't started this one.
Either. A lot of fish talk. A lot of fish talk in here too.
There's a lot of fish in the Bible. There's the whale.
Whale.
There's
He turns the one fish into
many fish. Yeah. That might be all the fish stuff.
Yeah, that's all. I think that's
No,
all.
fishers of men.
There's a good sushi recipe in here.
Yeah. You can't eat shellfish.
Yep.
A whole day was for creating fish and birds, I think.
Yeah.
This isn't supposed to be my review. This is supposed to be your review.
No, that's all. That's important stuff. So I read some stories. A couple that stuck out. This guy named Lot. His name is Lot. Weird name. He lived in this place called Soddom.
Famous for their sodomy.
And then
shout out to Soddom for inventing sodomy.
And then Lot's a nice guy. He lives in this place. It's like sodomy everywhere. And there's this other town called Ghommora, which sounds like something you contract from too much sodomy.
Yeah, what did Ghommora? I want to know. We all know what sodomy is. I want to know what Ghommora is.
It's like It's like s'mores. It's like, oh, you got some sodomy? What about some
sick
Ghommora?
Shit.
It's like a.
What were they doing in Ghommora? We don't even want to know what they're doing in Ghommora.
Yeah.
Belly button stuff, ear stuff.
Definitely fish stuff in Ghommora. So Lot, he lives in sodomy. He's got a wife and 2 daughters. He's a nice guy. He's like a fishmonger or something. And then he's hanging out. He's watching Law and Order SVU, and these 2 guys knock on his door. And they're like, hey, what's up, bud? We see you down here in this fucking hellhole. God's going to turn it into glass. He's going to nuke it off the face of the earth. You should get out of here.
Based.
And then Lot's like, oh, you guys are angels, right? And he's like, the 2 angels are like, yeah, shut the fuck up. You're going to get us killed. All these guys are definitely into doing boners and sodomy, and God doesn't like that. So he's going to nuke it. And then Lot's like, okay, come inside. And then they go inside. They're eating bread. They're eating like pita bread.
It's a lot of I don't remember this many details about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They eat the pita bread with these angels disguised as men who've come to save Lot for his loyalty. And then the townspeople show up fully erect. Hordes of men surround the house with their boners. The angels are like, we gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here. Their boners are throbbing.
We're gonna glass this place.
Yeah. And they're like, we don't have much time. Take your wife, take your daughters. And then Lot's like, okay, chill, guys. We're rational people.
Well, the people are outside. They're like, we want to fuck the angels.
Yeah, they want to kill them and or fuck them in no particular order.
That's a wild place.
I mean, if you're fucking...
You imagine you have a friend over and you're like, it's the whole neighborhood outside. They want to fuck you. I'm sorry for inviting you in. I should have told you that all of my neighbors are rabid boner animals.
Not much, yeah. Huge veiny throbbers. Not thinking straight. So Lot has 2 beautiful daughters who have not known men or boners. They know nothing about boners. They're safe, they're pure, they're innocent. So Lot goes outside to this horde of men, this horde of fully erect men, and was like, what if you guys don't kill my friends who are angels? What if you do whatever you want to my virgin daughters with your boners? And
hospitality.
Yeah. Clearly they're from the Midwest. And so details get a little fuzzy. I just started thinking about boners while I was reading it.
A lot of boner. You read a lot of boner stuff in jail.
Yeah. Not a lot of privacy in jail. Which has no direct correlation to why I was thinking about boners so much. So they go... Angels are like, okay, we're going to go outside. We're angels. Boners ain't no thing. We'll just twist them. And they'll back off. And then they go outside and they twist their boners. And I'm like, okay, you guys are fucking legit. And while this is happening, Lot takes his 2 daughters... and his wife, and the angels are like, do not churn around or you're going to turn into a huge rocky limestone boner where you stand if you turn around and look at the nuclear blast that God is going to do to Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot's like, got it. And he's like, babe, please don't turn around and turn into a boner. And the daughters are like, okay, Dad, we got you. We love you. And his wife's like, I knew I should have married Dave. And she is like at the back of, they were leaving and they get out and Lot's like, okay, we're almost here. We're almost over the hill. And she stops and she thinks about Dave's boner back in Sodom. And she looks back and she turns into a limestone pillar, a sweaty, salty pillar.
Pillar of salt.
Yep. That looked like a boner. And that's it. Until they go out. The angels are like, okay, good, you made it. I forgot about this part. It's like after the credits when they're like, yeah. So like credits are rolling and they made it. Sad ending, unfortunately. And then the daughters and Lot, the dad, make it to this cave. And he's like, well, I'm a guy who doesn't like boners, and everyone around here does, and we're not going to have a chill time. And so they go live in this cave. It's him and his 2 virgin, beautiful daughters. I don't know why they said that part so much, but they go to this cave, and then they live there for years and years and years, and the dad gets old, and the daughters are like, well...
Wait, they just lived in the cave?
Just them.
You'd think they'd go find, maybe they didn't know about other places.
Well, they told him about this other place, and then Lot was like,
What was the deal with Ghommora? Did that get destroyed at the same time as Sodom?
It was like...
Was it like a boom boom, or was
it's like St. Paul and Minneapolis, like the Twin Cities.
Oh, okay.
I think they were just like adjacent.
Okay.
They were like, you know...
So there was another place he could have went, but they stayed in the cave.
Yeah, he told him to go to this other like little town that was farther away, but like just be chill and they'll leave you alone. But he's like, I don't want to do that because then they're going to have their boners out. And then, so they decide to stay in the cave. And they live there, and he gets old. And then the daughters are like, our dad is so chill. He never bonered us. We're virgins. Who's gonna, like this? The world needs more of this. Men who don't love boners. And so they decide, one at a time, to get him drunk and milk his boner with their vaginas.
I want to point out,
and they gave birth
they
to two.
know of another town to go to.
Mm-hmm. Full of boner lovers.
You were thinking a lot about boners in prison. The story of Soddom.
This is my book review. I just took the words out of the books I read.
Okay.
And I'm just telling you.
Oh, that was a good...
About
two classics, 1984 and the
a lot of
Book
people
of Genesis.
Now, the third book I read is a book by Cormac McCarthy, famous author. He wrote No Country for Old Men. A lot of his books have been turned into movies. The Road. They're all kind of in a vein. They have a dark theme.
Yeah.
Very beautiful prose. He very lucidly describes the experience of this man who is referred to as the Kid in this book. He's like a young cowboy. He ends up in this bar fight in this town. It's set in the 1850s, give or take, in Texas. And then this other guy sees him who's called the Judge. He's like, damn, kid.
Damn, son, where do you get this? Where do you find this?
And he sees him like kill this guy who like tried to touch his boner in this bar fight. And then the Judge is like, damn, kid, you got a good boner and that guy tried to touch it and you fucking killed him. You're on my team now. And the Judge is like this huge albino, hairless man who's like 6'8" and 300 pounds.
Yeah.
He's albino and hairless for no reason. So then they get on this, like, they get tasked, commissioned by the government to go kill all of the Native Americans between Texas and the California coast. And they're like, a lot. Bring back the scalps, that's how you get paid. And they just set out on a fucking wave of destruction. And the kid's like, well, no one's going to touch my boner with the Judge around. And no one's going to touch his boner because it's fucking huge. It would be hard to physically do. And then they go out, they kill all these Native Americans, they scalp them. Native Americans kill a bunch of them. And like, damn, they fucking touched our boners after they killed us. It's horrible. And then it just, beautiful, beautiful prose.
I'm worried about you.
What, my choice in literature?
No, you're right. You're right. You can't control. You didn't know there'd be so many boners in these books.
I mean, I was trying to educate myself.
That's true.
I took the time. I could have just, fucking jerked off in jail instead.
That's
I read.
You could have just hung out in the shower and been like, whoops, I dropped the soap.
Hope nobody has a big slippery boner. But instead I read it. It's a beautiful book, beautiful prose. Kind of a sad ending. The Judge may or may not have been the actual devil the whole time.
Whoa!
You don't know. But yeah, just like this tale of depravity, loosely based on, well, actually, not loosely, very closely based on actual events that happened in Texas, Arizona, and California around the 1800s.
There's a common thread in these 3 stories you reviewed of like human depravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like groups oppressing people
for their boners.
The humans the human condition.
So I'll read you a quote, I guess. This is like a preface. They give you like a quote in the beginning to like set the tone. Clark, who led last year's expedition, to the Afar region in northern Ethiopia. And UC Berkeley colleague Tim D. White also said that a re-examination of a 300,000-year-old fossil skull found in the same region earlier showed evidence of having been scalped. The Yuma Daily Sun, June 13th, 1982.
A 300,000-year-old skull.
Yeah.
People be scalping people, dude.
It goes on to say the corpse that the skull was found next to huge raging boner after 300,000 years.
It's not how boners work.
I read all the books about it, so.
You're right. You're educating me this segment. Well,
So that's been my book review.
Prison book review.
Taken with the yearly output of a Chinese salt mine.
Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Sneak attack, bitch.
I can hear it. I could hear it below. You know I hate the sneak attack.
Well, that was a good show.
It's a pretty good show. We learned...
Francesca, please call me. What did we learn?
True love is real. It exists.
Yeah.
As long as they watch this podcast and see your misconnection. Francesca, I believe she'll get back to you, dude.
I think so too.
Yeah. It was definitely like a love at first sight thing, and in no way a crack-induced hallucination.
A synchronicity.
It was a beautiful, yeah. It's just like the universe showed you this thing, but it also showed you that you gotta, I don't know.
It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. We also learned that Nick read a lot about boners while in jail.
I read I finished 2 books and I started the third, the Bible. There's just a lot to get through in that one. The other 2 were just like, 1984 was like, government says boners are illegal. This one guy says no, they're not. And then they brainwash him. And then the other one is like what there would be if there was no God and no government, and you could just do whatever you wanted with your boners.
Riding through the West with the devil himself.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You know what time it is.
No, it can't be that time already.
It is.
No, I know. Give me another hour. I don't want to take the pill.
You have to.
It always makes me take these pills. I'm not doing it.
It's not. I didn't come up with this. You have to do it. You're at building 7. Here comes the plane. Okay, yeah, there was no plane in building 7. You're Tower 2, WTC 2. Here comes the big choo-choo plane.
I hate this.
Come on, buddy. Now it's sticky. You know I'm not going to touch it now.
It burns.
You do that on purpose. This happens every time. These aren't easy to get.
Oh, pill time.
Okay. You do a little peanut butter.
Ooh, peanut butter.
Peanut butter? Yeah. Let me just put a little bit. On there. Yeah.
Okay, but there's no pill in there, right?
No.
Okay.
I hit it. Good boy. Feel better? How you feeling, bud? How's that for a sneak attack? Thanks for tuning in.